Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be interviewing the one and only Travis Farris of the Farris team. He's my broker, so when it came to talking about competitive offers, how to make an unbeatable offer, this was really the person I wanted to bring on the show. So make sure you stay till the very end and watch, and I have a special bonus for you. Hey guys, this is Marina Tolentino. I'm a real estate agent and multi-passionate entrepreneur based in Oahu, Hawaii. And this channel is all about helping first-time home buyers and real estate in general. So I believe anybody can buy a home as long as you have a plan, and I'm here to help share some more information. Make sure you subscribe and click the like button if you like what you learned today, and I'll continue making amazing content for you. So let's dive in. So in the previous videos, I talked about doing your research, distinguishing your needs versus your wants, getting pre-approved, and going into showings. So now I kind of want to talk about how you can prepare how to place a competitive offer and what that really looks like.
Okay, so thank you for joining me. I have Travis here. So let's just kind of start in with who you are and what do you do?
Thank you, Marina, for having myself on here. Super excited. Travis Farris, I run the Farris team, and we actually have an organization called The Collaboration at eXp Realty. We launched the Farris team probably back in 2012, 2013, and I actually got started into the real estate industry in about 2010. Truly a story of like starting at the bottom and really growing from nothing. We didn't have any influence in the real estate industry. Me and Nisa is my wife. She basically helps us run all of our organizations. Neither of us had friends or family in Hawaii really, and weren't from there. And nor did we have anyone in the real estate industry space. So we literally had to go in and kind of like niche out our own territory and kind of fight to where we are today, which is running an amazing organization with fantastic people like yourself, and really starting to grow this thing nationwide, actually, coming up. So
Cool. Okay, so let's say this market is crazy, right? So what we're living in right now is insane. As we're recording this, it's September 2020. Can you kind of tell people what's your first advice? Like they're getting into the process, how do you brace them for what they're expecting?
So one thing that sets us apart from the 6,500 realtors on Oahu is we really take an advising approach. So we're not here to sell people anything. We're there to show them what's happening, what's going on in the market. And there's a time and place for everything. So the one thing that we always talk about when we're dealing with buyers is I will literally do a breakdown of a 1, 2, 3 year market analysis versus 5, 10, 20 years. Where a lot of agents go in there as salespeople, they're saying if you buy a home now, you'll make a bunch of money in a year, you sell it and cash out. That is not the approach that we take. We really show the worst case scenario. Hey, this is worst case scenario. So as long as you do these things, you will set yourself up for success. And we do that because our clients trust us to kind of help set them up for success. So where we're at, the market is gnarly. So again, I got started in real estate 2010 when we were at the rock bottom. I think we might have actually still been going down. And we are on a 10-year upswing. So when you actually look at business cycles, you got to evaluate where we're at. That it does not mean it's a bad time to buy, because anytime I'm talking to people, I'll show them 1995, which was the historic Japanese bubble and the biggest burst in real estate history in Hawaii. And if you would have bought in 95, quote unquote, at the top of that market, you would have killed it today.
Yeah.
And even based on 2007, the bubble, as everyone talked about, financial crisis, if you would have bought smart in 2007, you would kill it today. So the same thing goes right now. So we're at historic highs in Hawaii, top of the market. Doesn't, again, mean it's not a bad time to buy, because we're actually at historic low interest rates. And so how that translates is plan longer term. So everyone looks about home prices. Let's say there's a $50,000 change in home prices. Everyone's like, well, I don't want to pay $50,000 more for a home as far as the straight value goes. However, if you bought $50,000 less at a, let's say, 4.5% interest rate, you're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars more than you would today at a 2.5% interest rate. So interest rates are far more important than home prices. However, this is again goes into our advising. it also depends on what you're planning on doing with that home. So the real takeaway here is time is power in real estate. The longer you have the home, the better you're going to do with it.
Yep.
That is my 2 cents.
It's super good. And it's all about, yeah, what we say is buy smart, sell smart, right?
Absolutely.
Don't act on emotion. Okay, so let's say somebody's ready to buy, they're ready to put in an offer. What are all those elements that go into an offer that they need to consider?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, as an agent, you can always ask a client, if you find the perfect home today, what would you do?
Yeah.
And that will unveil a lot of information because, again, if you ask someone that question and they're pre-approved, good to go, they're going to say, I'd submit an offer. If you ask that question to someone who hasn't done anything, they would say, I don't know what I would do. And then that's where you kind of start from where point A is and get them to point B. However, what is it? 5 steps to a successful closing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at basically buying a home, step 1 is get pre-approved, not pre-qualified. Quicken Loans will pre-qualify you as long as you're breathing oxygen. So pre-qual means, hey, give me some information. I'm going to put something on a piece of paper. Pre-approval means they actually have collected documents. They ran your credit score. And that literally means you are good on this amount as long as nothing changes. So step 1, absolutely get pre-approved. Step 2 is basically find the right realtor. There are 6,500 realtors on Oahu, and we tell people that openly because we say we differentiate ourselves from all those agents by doing XYZ, proactive, passionate, and we care. And we're not going to put people in bad situations because we want clients for life. We don't just want a one transaction person. So find the right agent. So step 2 is find the right agent, but then also locate the right home is going to be step 2. Step 3, with that correct agent that's going to kick butt, like Marina here, who can help you, is submitting an offer. So I'll touch base on submitting an offer. Once you get an accepted offer, which is step 4, you navigate escrow. And then step 5 is to close, which means it's officially your property. So if we can hop into the 3rd step on submitting an offer, this is where you got to work with your realtor. And actually, Nisa, again, my wife, is always pretty surprised at how upfront I am with people when I talk to them, because I want to know as much about you and your situation, your finances, your credit, so that I can better structure a competitive offer. Again, the lender is going to go through a lot of this stuff. The agent that you use, or us, whoever it is, should have good communication with that lender. However, if you're doing a 100% VA loan or 100% USDA loan, that is a completely different structured offer than a conventional or a cash or FHA. So ultimately, we need to know all of these things to figure out what we're going to do. Yeah. And then some things is, I always talk about it. Do you want to caveat into more questions, or do you want me to keep going?
No, this is good. So like, what are the elements they need to think about to put in their offer? Yeah.
So absolutely. Again, step 1 is just get pre-approved. At that point, you know where you're at. If you can only afford $600,000 homes, we don't want to show you $700,000 homes because, as one of our collab agents, Zeus, said, you can't unsee a $700,000 home. So it'll really set that expectations and kind of harm the process. But again, Marina said it as well, buy smart. So if you only need a 2-bed, 2-bath home, buy a 2-bed, 2-bath home, and it will help set you up for success. So at the point that you're pre-approved and you're shopping with your agent and they're saying, hey, we want to submit an offer, I always say you have the 3 pillars to a successful or a structuring your offer. So number 1, the first pillar is the most important, I guess, or you could say the most looked at is price. So if a home is listed at $500,000, what price are you going to go in at? And with that, there's a lot that goes into that because, again, if you have no money in the bank and you're doing VA loan, we need to be very strategic on pricing because it actually has to appraise. So we can't say, hey, we'll give you $600,000, even though they're selling at $500,000, because we're going to have a huge appraisal difference that's going to kill the deal, to be straightforward. After pricing, which again, a lot goes into that, and the agent or Marina will basically help you look at the CMA, comparable market analysis. But number 2 is cash down. So if you have 2 equal offers, both at $500,000, and one has no money down and the other has $20,000 down, then those are two different offers that a seller is going to actually evaluate. So step two, or the second pillar, is going to be cash down. And that doesn't necessarily mean conventional loan or $100,000 down. If we're working with a 100% financing VA client and they have $10,000 in the bank, we might suggest that they put $5,000 or even $10,000 down to go into the transaction, and then that would come back to them at closing. And that just helps you compete against a $100,000 cash down conventional offer. So price, the cash down, and again, it can be 100% loans, can still put cash down, comes back at closing. And then the third pillar is going to be special terms, or just the terms in general. Are you doing a 90-day closing, or are you doing a 30-day closing? Are you doing an appraisal clause? So in the event the appraisal comes in below purchase price, the buyers agree to pay $10,000 over that appraised value in order to close. Escalation clauses. So we submit it at $500,000 and the buyers agree to pay $1,000 over the highest bona fide offer, but not to exceed $520,000. So it's saying if there's competitive offers, we will bump our offer up to $520,000. Your agent will do the job of asking the listing agent, how do you feel about escalation clauses? Because some like them and some don't. But those are the three pillars about a successful or competitive offer: price, cash down, and the terms that you put into the offer.
Super good. Okay, and then what's your advice about a letter, including a letter?
Okay, so we actually run real estate teams in Hawaii and Colorado. Colorado takes a hard no stance. They don't want love letters or letters like buyer's letters in terms of them liking the home. So in Hawaii, we love them. And we love them because we've had offers that were okay, and we submitted it, and we got our client to write how they feel about the home, put that on top, and the sellers came back to us and said, hey, you guys weren't the highest best offer, but my seller read the letter and really likes your family, and they want your family to take over this next chapter of their life in this. So it works. Colorado, though, again, most of the time they don't like it, and they kind of use a potential discrimination stance, which is crazy to me. In Hawaii, they work. I'll probably still do them when I can in Colorado. The one thing we've done in the past that you actually did that actually sets you apart or helps is doing a buyer's video. So a video of the client, because at that point, if they say no letters, well, you attach the video to the offer and they're going to watch it. So those are some things as well that can kind of set you apart. And then I actually do a letter or a video to the listing agent as far as, hey, this is Travis Farris. We just submitted an offer, just giving you a courtesy notice. So all of these things, what they help you do as well is build rapport with either the seller or the listing agent, who, as a listing agent, when I get 10 offers, I'm going through and I'll present all offers. But if the sellers are asking me, hey, well, what is this? What is that? We've worked with them. It was really fantastic. We've worked with them. It was okay. This offer is really good. So I am coaching our client. I ultimately coach them to make the decision, but we coach the client. So if somebody is building rapport with me and letting me know that their clients will do whatever they can, I might communicate that to the seller as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that just goes back to the client relationships too, whereas if we're a known force in Hawaii and Colorado and they're seeing 40 offers, which we've just heard is possible here, and they know, oh, Farris team, we already know they're going to be awesome to work with. They're smooth, seamless on it. Like that for sure bumps you up in the rankings. So that's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's kind of talk about contingencies. So a lot of people contingent on selling their previous home in order to get the loan for the new home. How do you advise people when it comes to contingencies?
So setting expectations immediately, right? When I walk into the consultation, we set the expectations, let them know probably what it's going to look like, and that we do probably 30 of them a year. However, they're very difficult, and you're lining up a lot of moving targets and timelines to make it work. And so again, setting the expectations with the client is going to be the most important thing. Again, prepping them worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So in a contingent sale, you need to negotiate either early occupancy, where you're moving into the replacement property early, or lease back, where you close and you're staying behind a couple days while you close the purchase. Those are best case scenario. Worst case scenario, both sides say, I'm sorry, no, because there's a liability that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tell them, in that case, you're going to need to prep for a couple days to maybe a week to stay with family or get a hotel. And again, you're prepping that immediately. You set those expectations. So again, if that does happen, you say, hey, remember 45 days ago when I told you might have to do this? That's what's happening. But the other thing is you want to set expectations with them saying sellers don't like contingencies. So normally we might have to work pretty hard to get you an accepted offer. Now we've got to work really hard. We need to look at more homes. We're probably going to have to submit more offers. Probably because that is actually the third pillar. That is a term. That's a term in your contract that actually weakens your offer. So what do you do if you weaken your offer on a term? You've got to strengthen it on the price or cash down. And you almost have to buy them to allow you to do a contingency. Hey, we would submit 500. We'll give you 510 because we're contingent. And so these are all the things that you got to do as an agent, is setting the expectations with the client and then just being aggressive as hell on your offers, on showings, and again, coaching the client. Make sure you're not wearing your client out and keeping them in the game.
Yeah. And I'll just touch on that too, just with what we're experiencing. That's why it's so important to have an agent who's really on it. Because like something goes on the market, you're already getting offers the day of, like we just had with this other listing that Taylor's doing. It's like, if you're requesting to show and your agent takes 24 to 48 hours to schedule a showing, you could already be out of it, you know? It's just, you really have to be on it right now.
That one specifically, because we were getting that one, you got to be aggressive. So we're reviewing on a certain day. We had agents calling, and it was just like, get in there. And just so you know, we have 2 sight unseen offers. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm just letting you know that's what we have. So, so that's being aggressive agents who set themselves apart. Then I don't even know the best way to call it.
Lazy agents.
We'll call them lazy agents.
Yeah.
The broke agent, I guess.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that's really great information. So also we do a lot of VA loans. So in addition to Farris team, we have the Colorado military homes and Hawaii military homes. Can you kind of talk about what percentage of business we do with VA and what your experience is with that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably 90%, give or take a little bit, is VA, military location. All my family and friends were military. And when I got into the industry, that's kind of who I ended up hanging out with, being around with, and doing business with. So we learned all the ins and the outs of the VA loan. One thing as good agents should know is they should know the different loan products and how to navigate through them. And that was the one thing that, again, when I first got into real estate, not that I acted not like myself, but I tried to walk the walk and talk the talk, and I wasn't 100% myself, and you end up working with the wrong type of people. At a certain point, though, I'm 100% transparent, myself, and authentic. And to tell you the truth, with a lot of our military clients, they're friends that we actually end up hanging out with, having a good time. But we actually, when we were with a Realty company, we were with the USAA and Navy Federal Movers Advantage program. Okay. So we were actually doing relocation across the country. And we were actually doing a lot of military before that. So it's one of those things that we actually just are passionate about helping and taking care of our service members, setting them up for success. So there are so many times, and we definitely won't use any specific agents, where we're taking listings that were put in by different agents where the sellers are in a bad situation. And they're like, this agent was like, you're going to go in here and you're going to make a ton of money. And we have orders 2 years later and we are in a bad place. And so we have to go in there and actually help them out of this situation. Whereas people that are just trying to make money, make $1 at the sacrifice of these military members, we don't do that. 100%. We're advising. We're here to serve those that serve our country and let us do the things that we do in our world. And therefore that's kind of become a huge niche of our business.
For sure. Yeah. And it's awesome. As a veteran wife, like my husband used to be Coast Guard, so we still have a lot of Coast Guard connections. It's great to really just reach out to people too, because you never know who's moving here and for what reason or why they're leaving. And so having that we're already connected with all the resources they need for PCS, and it makes it really easy.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're a military spouse.
Yes.
And actually, the one of the little plugs that I'll put is we came over to EXP Realty, which has been amazing. And it's literally, I was against it like a year or two ago. And when we finally plugged in it, it's like game changing. We love it. It's a national brand. And actually, we have a lot of agents just like yourself that are military spouse. And what happens with military spouse? Typically, they are moving every 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So if you go from one company in Hawaii to another company in California, you're rebranding. You have to build out your network again. EXP is a perfect platform specifically for people that are constantly moving to where you do one brand. And if you PCS or move to another location, you're just getting a license there. Your network stays the same. Your branding stays the same. And it's a perfect platform for being able to literally go across the world and not have to change too much.
That's so true. With everything with branding, it's like you don't need to change the address or all of that stuff. Like everything just stays the same. It's so easy.
Absolutely.
So true. Okay, so just for laughs, can we kind of talk about some bad offers you've seen in the past and what those were like?
Oh, I mean, so you have your lowball offers. So just to go into it, like we work with some investors and like I work with very seasoned investors that kind of know what they're doing. And there's a reason for it, because when a lot of people first get into the industry, there are tons of these so-called investors that go and watch a seminar and then they think that they're this, magical home flipper. Their valuations for value and pricing is a little bit different. So in the real estate world, when we have a fiduciary responsibility to our seller, we want to sell that home for the highest price we can, which means you're determining it based on what other properties are selling similar. Investors like to have a stance of, well, they bought it for $100,000. I don't care what they're selling for now. We're going to give them $150 and they're going to make $50,000. And that's how a lot of investors try to value submitting offers. And so when you see those types of things come in, or you have somebody ask you when it's listed at, $600,000 to offer $265,000, you're like, no, I'm good. You should go to this other office and somebody there will submit that for you, I promise. So those are some of the ones. Handwritten, and handwritten is not always terrible, but sometimes you see these just crazy offers. I'm trying to really think what the craziest.
Handwritten, so they're like hand delivering it or mailing an offer?
I've seen fax. So it was handwritten and faxed. They're like, where's your fax? What's your fax number? I said, what's a fax number?
What's a fax machine?
Yeah, what's a fax machine? I don't even know. Do those exist? You might have to go to the museum for me to get one of those. That's
funny. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, some people, I think they just get so caught up in like what they think is good and they don't even think from the other perspective. Like you have to put yourself in the seller's shoes. They're trying to get as much money as possible. So why would they even consider this crazy offer you have? Yeah,
not to go too much into that. So sometimes sometimes people will go into some of these situations where someone's in trouble or someone is in a not good financial situation. And if they hadn't got advising from somebody that knows what's going on, and somebody comes in and says, hey, look, you're in trouble. I'll help you get out of the trouble. Here's what it's going to look like. You bought it for $100. I'll give you $150 and get you out of the situation. People can say, sure. So always talk. And that's where we say, talk to other agents. Even if you interview with us, interview another agent.
100%. Yep. So true. Okay, so let's say that seller has a counter offer. They're coming at you with a counter. What's our position then, and how do we strategize to still seal the deal?
So we submitted and a seller countered us back. So the one thing I always talk about for both sides is when you get a counter or you submit a counter, you need to be able to walk away. So let's say we're listed at $500,000. Somebody submits at $490,000, and you hadn't had any offers before that. And they're like, well, let's counter back at $495. What I always ask that seller is, are you willing to walk away from this offer entirely? So are you willing to walk away from 490,000 to get 495? And if you are, fantastic, we'll submit it. And that gets people questioning because they're like, well, no, I don't want to walk away from 490. Okay. Well, then don't counter, because the second you counter, it basically goes to the other person and they can choose to accept, reject, or counter back. So same thing if we're a buyer and we get a counter back, like, as long as it's reasonable, I'm saying, okay, well, this is how it changes. You submitted at 490, they came back at 495. It changes your monthly payment $10 a month.
Yeah.
You know, are you willing to walk away from this home for 495?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing on the script. The one thing I will say about aggressive, proactive agents that no one really knows is that when a counter goes out, nothing is locked in. So it is still available. And when I was hitting the ground running as a show, like buyer's agent,
Mm-hmm.
you guys take all of my buyers nowadays.
Yeah.
But there was a time where I submitted an offer and, well, I was about to submit an offer and I called him. He's like, oh, well, we have a counter offer out. Sorry, Travis. I'm like, okay, well, what price are you at? Well, X, you know, we're countering back at X. I'll give you more. My buyers want this property. I'll give you more than your counter. They want it. And he's like, oh, well, we can't. The counter is submitted. No. And this is because I'm, again, a broker.
Yeah.
When a counter offer is out, they can rescind a counter at any time that you communicate, email, text, something written.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you rescind the counter offer, it's dead. So I explained this to that agent and I was like, no, you can rescind that counter. He's like, really? I think I need to check with my broker. I'm like, go for it. Check with your broker. He comes back and says, okay. And I got him to rescind that counter offer and we submitted and he accepted our offer. So that goes, and I've also had it on my buyer on the bad spectrum where I was like, guys, we need to accept this counter. And they're like, no, we want to think about it. And lo and behold, the other side rescinded it. They rescinded the counter. I was like, guys, they rescinded it. Like, you're out.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things. Go ahead. Sorry.
As soon as you lose, yeah, you got to be on it.
Absolutely. So nothing's locked in with a counter. So.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting. And then that just goes to show too, like with your agent, they should be following up and checking in. Don't just send whatever and then think they're going to automatically respond. Like, you got to follow up. I'm on there every 4 hours. Hey, any updates? Can you tell us what's going on? Like, I'm calling them. You don't want crickets, because then you get lose out. Yeah.
Yep. You want them to, like, and if you have an agent that really bothers you, they might bother you. But like, I have had agent that was so on it and they just like were borderline annoying me that I was like, Jesus, okay, guys, just accept these guys. Like, we need to be done with them. I don't want them to pester me any longer. So
yeah, exactly. That's
absolutely.
Okay, and then how many times do you advise to go back and forth? How many times can counters go back and forth?
They can go back for forever. Once you start getting it like pretty close, after like 3 or 4 counters, you might want to submit and say, hey, this is our final and best. You know, if you don't want it, we're just going to keep moving on. And that's a negotiation tactic as well. Say, hey, this is final and best. Take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And always have the walk away. So that is in sales in general and real estate especially, like you don't do anything for the money. It's all for the client. And when you come from that place of power, it crushes negotiation. I crush negotiations because like I'll tell them, be like, I'm okay. Like if you don't accept this, I'm still gonna sleep at night. And people like it changes how you negotiate and it makes you negotiate actually better and it helps your clients even more.
For sure. Yeah, that's a really good point. Even yesterday, I was kind of explaining something to a friend, and she's like, "You're so level-headed. Like, shouldn't you be freaking out about this?" And it's like, no. Like, honestly, it's up to my seller what she decides to do. I'm here to support her regardless, and we move on. It's not gonna break my day, you know. So
Totally. I'll tell you what. I lost sleep the first couple of years in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't lose any sleep anymore.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we know we're doing everything in our power that we can do, that's all we can do. Yep. It's out of our control. Okay, so let's kind of close out with a quick market update, how you think things might go in the future, like how's October looking for you, and just any advice you have, close out.
So the market's going crazy. Again, capitalize on the low interest rates, but I'm always advising my clients, buy smart. So I had one client, just bought like a $300,000 condo. And that market, like the lower end condo market, is crickets, which in my eyes should be going crazy.
Yeah.
Like these people should be trying to like not downsize, but like be smart. Again, we're at the top of a bull run. Money's cheap, which is good. Capitalize on it. But I'm always advising this is not a time to stretch. So if you have $10,000 of your life savings, don't use that $10,000 to go leverage or invest. Like keep it. Like be smart at these times. And again, plan worst case scenario. So Hawaii specifically, there's a lot going on with COVID. Businesses are closing down. How is that going to translate into the economy? And that's where it's just saying, hey, capitalize on the interest rates, but just be mindful of what could happen next year. If things open up, there's another election. Are we going to see some, more difficult times in Hawaii? I don't know. Maybe plan for it. You know what I mean? Don't plan for the moon and then end up in a bad situation. Plan smart. Be conservative now is basically my biggest pearl. Be conservative right this second, and then be bullish in a year or two when things change a bit. So
yeah, that's really good. Okay, so where can people find you? How do they follow along? How do they get in contact?
Well, first of all, you can go to Miss Marina here, who's crushing it. But we have Farris Team, Instagram, Facebook, Hawaii Military Homes, Colorado Military Homes. We actually, again, our EXP organization is Collab Agents on Instagram or the Collaboration on Facebook. We're really trying to focus on helping agents like yourself grow to the next level. But we're all over the internet. So you can find us Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We have a lot of fun on there.
Yay. Okay, well, thank you so much. That was amazing. So much good information. And we will be in touch soon. Yay.
Thank you, Marina. Appreciate it.
Wow, that was so much good information. I'm so thankful that Travis was able to jump on here and kind of share his strategy and negotiation tips. So I made a really good PDF for you if you click in the notes below, and it's got everything you need to know to place this offer. So you can reference it when you're trying to decide if it's good to have any contingencies, whether you need more money down, all of the things. And it's just a really good resource for you. So make sure you click down below to download that. And I just want to ask, what else do you guys want to know about offers? Do you have questions about anything? If you do, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to get back to you with some good information. So be sure to check out the other videos in the series. If you learned something and you want to go back and reference it anytime, it's always available for you. And if you give me a subscribe and a like, that really helps my viewings. And so YouTube will actually push it more the more subscribers I have, and more people can get this help. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.